Good afternoon and welcome to Why Most CVs Get Rejected. More importantly, how to make sure that yours isn't one of them. I'm Mike Wormsley. I'm chairman of Parker Bridge in Thailand. I've worked in the recruitment arena now for nearly 30 years. I've seen good CVs, bad CVs, hundreds of them. I've literally interviewed thousands of graduates over the years. And as importantly, I've got a network of people similar to me who've also interviewed and hired hundreds and hundreds of graduates. So I'm going to give you some feedback as I see it and other experts in the world of recruitment to help you secure your dream job. So today's agenda, I'm going to start by asking a pretty simple question. What is a CV? Then we'll take a look at a really important aspect of this whole thing. Please pay close attention to this. What is it that employers really want? Because when you understand what they want, then provided you've got those things, you can alter your approach to make it clearer that they should be hiring you rather than someone else with a similar background or degree. Going deeper than that, we'll look at how to become an employee of choice. Now, you may have heard the phrase employer of choice. So employers want the best candidates to come to them. What about you becoming an employee of choice, where the clients see you as the person they should be hiring? And then we'll look at a checklist before you send your CV off to a recruitment company or a direct client. Think about it before you send. Really, really important. I see many applications coming in, particularly from the web and job boards, and they're a spray and pray, where they just press a button and send the CV without any attention at all to putting themselves in the client's shoes and trying to think, if I was the client, what would I want to see? We'll then have a look at a CV makeover, which will give you a few ideas to streamline your own CV. Now, to kick off, there's a simple question. How would you define that's on the screen? Now, in the chat room, please, could you please put down some ideas as to what's your understanding of what a resume is or a CV? Okay, so I'm getting some comments coming in here. A summary of your work history. Okay, interesting. Not my definition, but interesting. A career record. Interesting. A way to market yourselves to a business. Now, that's more like it for me. Excellent suggestion there from Ritika. Thank you for that comment. Now, let's take a look at what a CV really is, a resume or CV, whatever you call it. This is my definition, which didn't come up in the chat room question then. Think very carefully about this. Make no mistake, if your CV doesn't represent you in the best possible light to a potential employer, they'll look at it for a few seconds and dismiss it. So a CV is either an opportunity for the employer to reject you, or it's a sales document. This is critically important for you to secure your dream job. Your CV has to be marketing you in the most powerful way that you can think of. Now, later in the session, as I said, we're going to do a CV makeover. You may have seen some of the TV programs where they go into an old rundown apartment or house and they get a team of people in, they paint it and redecorate it and sell it for more money, and they achieve what they want. Now, your CV might be a slightly run-down version of what it should be. With a bit of a makeover, we can transform it into something more compelling, more appealing, more visually attractive and more powerful. But we'll be doing that later in this session. First, what is it that employers want? Well, when they're looking to hire people, they want the ones on the right of your screen. They want people who are not going to cause them problems, who are pleasant to deal with, who are hardworking, who are productive. They don't want the gentleman on the left who's going to cause them trouble. So they're a little bit guarded when they see your CV. They're looking for ways to reject you. And on a positive side, let's look at what they do want. Now, I'm going to give you a few ideas here, but if I'm a manager and I'm hiring you, I want to be able to trust you. So how do I know I can do that from a piece of paper? I want people who I can explain things once, you go off and do it. I don't want people who give me excuses. So, people who say, oh, I forgot, in my world, I forgot is not an excuse. I want organized people who make notes, who need telling once. I don't want people who are making excuses all the time for underperformance, because my life as a manager is hard enough as it is. So there's three important bullet points, the first three. Now, of course, in an ideal world, I'd like a few skills that you already have. But for me as an employer of a graduate, going deeper than that are these things. I want someone who's positive, someone who's got what I call a can-do attitude, somebody who'll find a way to make it work. I want hard-working people, flexible. I want people who don't just claim to be fast learners, because there are hundreds of those. How many times have I heard a graduate saying to me, I'm a fast learner? And I say, give me some evidence of that. And they'll refer to their studies perhaps, but in the workplace, suddenly that disappears. I want to feel it. I want to really feel that you are somebody who'll go off in your own time and you'll see value in adding to your skills and your knowledge. Almost you'll carry on your university learning, but in the workplace, for me and my business, if I were to be hiring you. Now you can read those things on the screen faster than I can talk, but look at the bottom right. Emotionally intelligent. Now, employers in today's world are less concerned about IQ, which is a measure of intelligence, I suppose, and more interested in emotional intelligence. Emotionally intelligent people have empathy. They're open, they're self-motivated, they're reliable, they're quick learners. They've got an awareness of other people and how to relate to them and how to deal with them. But I'm going to come back to this list later when we look at a personal statement, because if you concur that if you were an employer, you would want some of these things on the screen, then surely when you are putting yourself forward for a new role in a new company, you should signal the things that you're strong in within these areas. So for example, if you're a strong communicator, highlight that. If you're the kind of person who contributes ideas, get that into your personal statement. I'm going to give you an example in a moment of how to do that. So the foundation here is, as you're building your CV and your cover letter and your email that you send to an employer, that you think like an employer. Really, really important. Put yourselves in the employer's shoes, because employers are wondering, is the person positive? Can they deliver? Are they a good communicator? Are they self-motivated? Are they hard-working? Are they a self-learner? And will they come to me with solutions, or will they come to me with problems all day long that I have to solve? So the way that you put your application together and your CV can send the right message to an employer and get them thinking the right way early on. So let's take a look at an example here. Please can you just take a moment to read this personal statement. So this could be something that is within your CV, for example, as a personal statement. Look at the messages that it's sending to the potential employer. Look at the fourth paragraph down. Every task that I perform is done to the highest possible standard, and I undertake learning in my own time to ensure that I can maintain and improve standards. Now, you're only going to ever put something down that is true, and I'm not suggesting you just copy this, by the way. I think you have to think carefully about the message that you send. But let me show you what's happened here, because those things that I showed you on the screen earlier on are pretty much sprinkled through this personal statement. In red now, of course. So look at how someone is providing evidence here. Second paragraph down, my work ethic is demonstrated because you can see that I've funded my education through part-time work. So not just claiming to have a strong work ethic, giving some evidence. Further down, I've exceeded targets and been awarded Employee of the Month for 6 consecutive months of my part-time position, giving evidence, not just saying I'm hard-working. So now remember, whatever statement you put onto your CV will get questioned on interview. So whatever you say has got to be true, but that goes without saying, of course. So you've worked on your personal statement, you've improved it. Now you're in a situation where you can have a good CV. We'll come on to building a good CV in a moment. And then that's going to take you towards getting a job interview. And just a few little tips here whilst we're on this page. A good CV contains key achievements. And again, we'll have a look at that in a moment. A strong personal statement, as per the one that I just showed you a moment ago. And you're kind of demonstrating the match to the client. So whatever it is they're looking for, you're highlighting in the personal statement the things that match. You're highlighting in the CV the things that match. Now, once you get to the job interview, which is a topic for another webinar, find a good recruiter to work with who can help, critique your CV, improve it further. Make sure you do some research, prepare, and get some evidence about how good you are. But a big tip on the bottom left there, as you can see just above Empower ASEAN, is look through the employer's eyes. What I mean by that is if you're applying for a job, look for what they want, look at your CV, and then think, how can I ensure that my CV matches what they're looking for, but do it honestly. And you've always got to be honest about these things, because it'll come back and bite you if you're not, of course, at the interview stage when they question you. So before you send the CV, what I'm saying is think like the employer. As I said, a CV is a sales tool. It's, of course, an interview tool for the employer. But for goodness sake, do not let it be an opportunity for the employer to reject you. So we're now going to move on to an example of what a good CV should look like. And we're going to look at three really important areas. The first is the look and feel of the CV, the presentation, the layout, and so on. Then we'll delve into key achievements, and finally wrap it up with, how could that employer not want to interview me? You've got to think this way, and then you're going to get more interviews by thinking that way. So let's take a look at a before and after situation. So I'm going to show you a couple of resumes here. The first one, which will pop up in a moment, is this one here. So this is Jane Blogs. Now, I of course have made the name up, but this is based upon a real CV. I've changed the names and changed the details and so on, but it's a real CV. So she's tried to, do a personal statement, but it's very hard to read. So it's all, the text is all pulled together, and it's written, she does this and she does that. Bullet points might be stronger here. And also, it's not really sending the right message to me, because as an employer, it's too hard to read, especially when I've got another 10 or 20 CVs in front of me, and I'm giving, 10 seconds to each CV before I choose. Next thing is, there's a lot of data here that's irrelevant. Now, if she's applying for a job that's nothing to do with marketing, how important is it to have information about the course? Maybe not. For some jobs you apply to, you might leave it in. Now I'm getting confused as the employer. Okay, so she's still employed, but she's doing something else here. Has she made a mistake? Now I'm starting to doubt her, because the dates look, they don't seem to join up. Here, so she's got one job, January 16. Oh, she's got another job. This person looks like she's had 4 or 5 jobs. Do I want to hire somebody who keeps leaving jobs all the time? Now, as it happens, Jane is just about to graduate. These jobs are actually part-time jobs whilst studying, but it doesn't seem that way. And she's on to 4 pages of the CV, or 3 pages of the CV straight away. So let's take a look at a makeover for this. If we look at how her CV might appear afterwards. So personal statement, as per the one that I showed you earlier, Easy to access, the contact details, very simple. She's cut it down here and made it clear that this one has finished, but this one is still current. She's summarized, due to qualify July 16. She didn't need much information about A-levels because, you know, the diploma in marketing and the degree have superseded that. Now, look at this, key skills. So I'm the employer. I can get a succinct view as to the key skills. And cleverly here, she's signaled to me that she's an advanced Microsoft Office Suite user. SPSS, whatever that is, she's advanced at that. And then she's also put down some other things that hit me straight away. If she's applying for a marketing role where creating newsletters, organizing seminars, website maintenance and so on are important, straight away she's got a little message across to me that she's got those key skills. So she's coming in my pile of, I might want to interview this person. Now I'm having a look at her employment history. Now here she's had a temporary position. I get it, I'm the employer, I get it. She's got this job while she was studying at university. She's even put it clearly here, reason for leaving, temporary role while studying. And she's put a key achievement in. So she's put the key achievement in a place where I can glance at it and see it and get a real feel for the value. She's also taken out, she did this and we did that and I did the other. Instead, simple bullet points. And it's only on 2 pages as well, 2 pages. Then she's summarized her other temporary positions. And this is okay to do. You know, she's highlighted some big names, which are appealing, because as an employer, I might know these names. And then she's aggregated the experience and summarized it. And she's put another key achievement in there just to wrap the whole thing off. Net result is 2 pages, nice and easy to read from an employer's viewpoint. So a very simple thing to do. Okay, so that's the simple CV makeover. If we're looking at a summary for this, I would say these are some of the important things, because it's a competitive marketplace and your CV might be alongside 50 other competing CVs. Make it easy to read. You know, you want bullet points. Keep it simple. Ideally 2 pages, and of course, most recent job, if you've had any jobs, that you can put on your CV first. Of course, no spelling mistakes. And by the way, courtesy of Empower ASEAN and Parker Bridge, you can get access to Parker Bridge TV, which is an online video channel giving you lots of ideas and tips on how to get ahead in your career, how to perform an interview and so on. And there's a really clever video in there about spelling mistakes. You know, I've been doing this job for 30 years now, and when I saw the video within Parker Bridge TV, I thought to myself, wow, if I was going on an interview, I'd be checking my CV again. There's some really powerful learning material within that platform. So look through the client's eyes. What I mean by that is, if the client is looking for X, Y, Z, and you've only got X, Y, then expect them to challenge that either on the interview or when they're looking at your CV. So, you know, you've got to make sure that every aspect of what you put forward answers their likely concerns. So, you know, for example, in your personal statement, using the one above here, which of course is hypothetical, I have strong XY experience and I've also been studying Z in my spare time. Now, if that's true, it's going to put the employer at ease because they believe they can see how you may be able to pick up the pace quickly. Key achievements and references. Now, what's a key achievement? Well, a key achievement is something you've done that's special, different, or better than someone else with a similar background. Because if I had 10 people in front of me right now, you and 9 others, how do I know who's the best? Well, the person who's achieved things, either sporting-wise or academically, or holding 2 jobs whilst studying and managing and juggling the whole process, but also someone who brings ideas to the table. So if you've worked within the student union and you've brought in ideas that have been implemented, highlight that, because as an employer, I like people who do some of the thinking rather than me having to think about it all the time. So ideas that have been implemented. Think about ways that you might have brought in cost savings or time savings, again, in a university or job environment that you've had to date. Think about ways, if you've had a job, for example, how you generated revenue. Employers like that. Maybe you've worked on projects. What's your contribution for those projects? Was the project completed within budget? How much were you responsible for that? And then, of course, testimonials and references. So if I've got 10 people in front of me, you and 9 others, and one person has a written reference that's really powerful, talking about ideas that have been contributed, projects the person's worked on, how they've outperformed other people with the same background, then I'm going to probably look at you rather than someone else. So here's the little checklist as to, why an employer might not want to interview you. The first is the CV doesn't stand out. We've covered some of those things today. It could be that you appear to be underexperienced. Well, if that's the case, if they want, say, a year's experience and you've only got 6 months while studying or even none, find a way to answer that question. Demonstrate you're a quick learner. Don't just say you're a quick learner, give evidence, because then I might give you a chance and I might think, she doesn't have the experience, but she seems to have a great attitude, so I'll interview her anyway. Send me those signals. If you appear to look too mobile, what I mean by that is, on the Jane blogs before and after CV, Jane had about 10 temporary positions. The employer might perceive her to have had lots of jobs and therefore they don't want to employ her. Whereas actually, it was just as simple as aggregating the experience under the headline of various temporary jobs while studying at university. Lives too far away. Well, if you're going back home to Thailand, then that's straightforward. But if, for example, you're going to live in Chiang Mai and your parents live in Chiang Mai and you're applying for a job in Bangkok, they might think, how's she going to get here? So, you might put address Chiang Mai, brackets, relocating to Bangkok, in brackets, within the CV and within the body of the application, so that the employer understands that you've already put that thought into it, rather than they think, she's made a mistake. She lives in Chiang Mai, we're in Bangkok, maybe she didn't read the advert properly. If you're in a job at the moment and you've got, then the employer might think, she's got to give a month's notice. We want someone tomorrow. So if you don't have to give a month's notice, make it clear, can leave within a week or something, or can start within a week. They might think you're too ambitious or over-ambitious or under-ambitious. You've got to think your way around these things. The biggest one of all is the CV gets buried in a pile. What I mean by that is, if you don't take action on some of the things I've explained today, then your CV might be alongside 10 others, but the other 9 are getting the interviews because the CV is easier to read. It's got strong key achievements in it. It sends a message to me in your personal statement about work ethic, about self-learner, with evidence based around it. It's got powerful testimonials and references attached, maybe. So don't let your CV get, buried in a pile. And when you're sending your CV across to a recruitment company, Parker Bridge, or directly to the client, highlight the positive matches within your email and your cover note. Get across to them that you've got exceptional references and strong key achievements. Let them know what your availability is. If you can do a Skype interview from here to Bangkok, for example, then make a note of that you've got availability to do that. Down here, I heard a graduate recently, if you look at the bottom left, a graduate suggested they would work a day free of charge in the client's office to prove how good they were. Do you know, as an employer, I like that. It's like, wow, what a good attitude. They're so confident in themselves. Now, you've got to decide whether that's appropriate for you. I'm just saying that for me, it struck a chord and made me think, I'm going to put that person in the pile of the people I want to interview. They seem to be really confident. Now, I may decide never ever to impose that, but I thought it was quite an interesting idea. So, in summary, make sure that your CV doesn't get rejected. Look through the eyes of the employer. Think, why might the employer reject my CV? And then do something about it. And either get a colleague, a family friend, or a part of your family, or even better, a really good recruiter to critique your CV. So if you want to get access to Parker Bridge TV, you can apply. It's free, by the way, and it gives you lots of tips that go way beyond what I've covered today. Thank you for joining me today. I hope you found it useful. Does anyone have any final questions? Okay, no questions today. That's absolutely fine. Thank you once again for joining me, and I hope you found it useful. Please show this recording to your friends and colleagues who are looking to return to Thailand. I look forward to Parker Bridge helping you on your return back to Thailand. Thank you very much. Goodbye now.